Here now is Stone Phillips.
Just 2 years ago, TV dramas were on life support, and the prognosis for a ratings recovery, rather poor. But this year's hottest new hit, E.R., has helped pull the TV drama back from the brink. In fact, it's been TV's #1 entertainment program for 5 out of the past 6 weeks. So what is E.R.'s secret? Well, Josh Mankiewicz followed this week's show from beginning to end to find out E.R.'s prescription for popularity.
Ready, set, stand by. Roll, please. Rolling.
Okay, we're rolling.
And background. Action!
This is one national healthcare program that's really working. Medical and dramatic storylines switch as fast as patients get on and off the tables, a format as new to television dramas as it is successful. It's the portrayal of the frenzied life or death struggles that grip many big city emergency rooms. And every week, a similar struggle goes on in the writers' meeting.
That's why I think maybe he should die at the end.
Klein.
Klein.
I think you're right.
Because
It's January 23rd, days before the shooting starts, a month before the episode will be shown on television. Writer and producer Paul Manning has been living the sleepless life of an ER resident. He's been awake for days finishing the script, working under pressure.
In my mind, he said, okay. But he didn't really.
While many of the personal storylines have been mapped out months in advance, it's the relentless medical crises that have to be created for each new episode. Writing them is difficult enough, but getting them all down on film in a period of only 8 days is even harder.
The trauma is done, which I have just done.
One 2-minute sequence can take hours to shoot, and it has to look just right.
Yeah, right.
Executive producer John Wells knows that in an age when many viewers suffer from an acutely short attention span, ER's biggest competition comes from your remote control.
If you don't like what you're seeing now, hang on for a couple of minutes because we're going to show you a different story or a different character, and if you don't like this one, there's no need to channel surf. We're going to give you something else.
With the script written, it's now time to breathe life into it. Later that same day, Wells heads up the production meeting, where page by page, casting, set design, and even the props are discussed with the show's department heads.
I could go get some intestines and we could let it set out and get disgusting, or we can make something fake.
Each medical scene is dissected, often challenged for its medical accuracy. When the meeting ends, Wells offers some encouragement to director Chris Chulak.
I'll settle in on this.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good episode.
Yeah, it's going to be a great episode. I hope.
It's January 28th. Director Chulak won't cue his cameras for another week, but co-executive producer Mimi Leader is already at work, 1,800 miles to the east. She's directing exterior scenes.
The ambulance will go by.
Boom.
You will go with it.
To capture the flavor of the Windy City, ER has borrowed the emergency entrance of the University of Illinois Hospital in downtown Chicago. A realistic setting, but ironically it's spoiled by the arrival of an ambulance. A real ambulance that isn't in the script. Carefully, the ER crew works around it.
Okay, guys, let's shoot!
With the exterior scenes shot, production moves indoors. Most of the action occurs here, in the emergency room of County General, a fictional and very busy hospital in downtown Chicago. Patients come in the emergency entrance here, then they're taken to the admitting desk here, then they go down one of these long corridors. Now, at this point, the camera may stay with the patients as they're examined, or it may pick up some other action, moving on perhaps to an entirely different story. But that's on ER. On Dateline, you're stuck with me. Now, severely injured patients are taken through this examination area and into one of these 2 specially built trauma rooms. Now, these rooms have been outfitted with everything that real doctors would need to treat real patients. The gurneys, the x-rays, they're all real. Everything down to the patient charts. I'm glad that's no one I know. All of it has been done to give both the actors and the audience the feel of being in a real working hospital. The medical equipment and devices that you see lining the hallway, Those are all real. They even scuffed the tile on the linoleum floor. But in fact, the actors are not in a real hospital or a real emergency room. They're on a soundstage at the Warner Brothers studios in Los Angeles. Creating realism also extends to the physical condition of the patients. For this episode, how an actor's rash should look is discussed for the better part of a week.
You like this style?
Yeah, that's fine.
That style you like?
But I think it's up to Werner in terms of what he can execute.
Okay.
Making the rash look real is the combined responsibility of the makeup department and the on-set medical advisor, Dr. Joe Sachs, probably one of the few MDs that also went to film school.
What we don't want to do is to give big, blotchy kind of clown makeup. So it needs to be very subtle. So we've done a couple of tests with makeup, brought in photographs to show them. And this one's really nice, kind of a very subtle raised edge that doesn't call too much attention to itself.
You should have somebody look at that. While filming the episode takes more than a week, director Chris Chulak's toughest scene will be shot late in the schedule, when he and the actors face two simultaneous trauma scenes happening side by side. Monday's the big day, right?
Monday's a big trauma day. When we get in that green room, it always seems to kind of bog down. I want to be kind of in here.
What makes this scene so difficult is something you may not have noticed even if you're a regular viewer.
1, 2.
On ER, medical trauma scenes are shot from start to finish without edits in the film. In other words, without stopping, just as they'd be handled in a real emergency room.
It's like a giant mountain, and everybody goes, how are we going to do this?
Because it's all one shot, it's uninterrupted. And if you do anything to blow that, you know, you feel it.
And it's all going really well. And then you walk by just at the end of the scene, and all you have to say is, you know, burn victim in 3. And if you don't get it out right, you've just screwed up 50 people. And so it can be pressure.
We have 2 trauma rooms, so those have to be figured out medically, exactly what's happening, what's being passed.
Put it right in here.
Figuring that out is Dr. Joe.
Yeah.
Before each scene, he gathers with the actors for what's called a tech rehearsal,
Yeah!
designed to instruct the actors on proper emergency room procedures.
Let's say this is the cut, and you put it in, you open it up. Okay? But you know what? It's only a 1-inch cut, so you're only going to open up about that far.
Cool.
This exercise in virtual reality is helped by real nurses,
Hands in the scalpel, please.
recruited from local emergency rooms and used as extras. But when it comes to spewing out medical dialogue, the actors are on their own.
It could be hyperaldosteronism or Barger syndrome.
Carter, put that damn book down.
Is it ever tough to remember all the medical jargon that you have to deliver so quickly?
Yeah, sometimes it is. We've all gotten better at it. Yeah, but boy, the initial couple episodes, it was like, well, I said it was like learning Latin, but it is Latin.
Just when you think you have it down pat, they throw a word at you like carboxyhemoglobin, which isn't a natural word to come out of someone's mouth.
Learning and learning and learning, you know, and trying to come across as an emergency room doctor. Yeah, I think that was the hardest part for me.
We gotta stop this, it'll kill him.
Okay, rapid bolus adenosine, 6 milligrams.
But you pick it up, you know, it becomes second nature. Now you know, when you see like CBC, Chem 7, UA, amylase, KUB, it's like, I've said that before, no problem.
So you never say the wrong thing?
Me? No. Why? Who said I did?
Rib spreader, our favorite term. Get me the thoracotomy tray.
What's a thoracotomy tray?
Okay.
Oh, God. I need to be asking these things.
I would assume it's I don't know.
Thoracotomy tray, if you're suffering from ventricular tachyarrhythmia, then you would need a thoracotomy tray.
I think I have a touch of that.
I just made that up.
Going for laughs with complex medical terms is nothing new to veteran television actor George Clooney. He co-starred in a 1984 sitcom with a name a decade ahead of its time. That was E/R.
It was E/R. There's a big difference.
Yeah, so it'd be like if I were on a show called like Date/Line.
That was a whole other show.
Whole other thing.
Date/Line.
Having already been in a medical show, Clooney's picked up a few dialogue tricks.
Well, this sheet doesn't have it, but most of the sheets you'll find my lines written on them phonetically because it just doesn't make sense to me.
For this episode's double trauma, Clooney takes advantage of the patient's backboard to give himself some crib notes.
He's got blood coming out of his mouth. You can say, you want to say bullet holes?
Bullet holes in his chest?
ET tubes in. No, just the neck.
Now it's time to bring in the last part of ER's unique approach.
And we have a Steadicam operator who's tremendous, who's our camera operator, who learns it as we do as actors. So the camera is as much a character, literally, as the actors.
That unseen character is really a handheld movie camera, stabilized by springs and mounted to E.R.'s cameraman, Guy B. The Steadicam lets Guy follow action to the right and left and still maintain a fluid, steady picture.
It's like our next lucky contestant.
With all the pieces in place, it's time to film this week's most dramatic sequence. The first part of the scene, the ambulance's arrival, was shot in Chicago.
What do you got?
38 caliber, clipped him in the neck. He's bleeding profusely. BP's 60/40.
How did it happen?
He was robbing a store. Cop shot him.
No. Turn him over to me. I got it. All right. Here we go. Let's go.
What's his story?
He's the cop.
Get me a blood on pressure bag!
The story picks up in the hallway as the two patients are rushed to the trauma rooms. Once inside these rooms, the action is non-stop. At least, that's what it says in the script.
We missed that whole cue.
All right, let's stay. Wait, everybody freeze, real quick.
If they had a week to shoot it, getting this sequence right would be no problem. But the crew of ER has only a week and a day for the entire episode. The 5 actors and more than a dozen extras repositioned for another take. Now look at the finished product and the surgical precision behind the camera.
Oh, God, he took it straight to the heart. Thoracotomy tray? Don't they thought they were supposed to wear vests?
Yep, they're supposed to.
I need some help in here.
Coming. Susan, you got
While it's happening, and when you get that rhythm going, that's the joy of it.
bullet holes in his chest?
Tubes in. No, just the neck.
It becomes like this ballet and this orchestrated thing. And when you finish something like that, it's very exciting.
16-year-old, bullet through the carotid artery, tready pulse, blood in his lungs. You're going to need to clamp him.
All right. They're halfway through the scene when Dr. Peter Benton arrives and takes over.
Dr. Benton.
Wait a second. Get somebody else down. He's clamped. Move him, now.
Now he makes the tricky move into the next trauma room, with the Steadicam following like a shadow.
Hanging more on neck.
Okay, let's see. What do we got here? A hole in the ventricle? Give me
As the action continues, Dr. Susan Lewis squeezes between the patient and the camera.
Where's Cardi? He's missing out on an education here.
Someone call the OR.
But nowhere on the set is the tension greater than for director Chris Chulak as the sequence nears its end. It's been 2 weeks in the planning, hours of rehearsal, and half a dozen failed attempts before the cast and crew hear that this operation has been a success.
Cut! Brent! Very nice. Moving on now.
In addition to its success in the ratings, ER is also getting plenty of attention from the people who hand out awards. It received more award nominations than any other TV show from the Directors Guild of America. And Anthony Edwards is up for a People's Choice Award as the most popular actor in a drama.